Cam Skattebo should have been Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year.
Do what you got. Say what you got to say. Say it with your chest.
Listen, Shedeur Sanders had a fantastic season.
He did.
Great season for him. He should be a high pick in the draft. You know, Colorado shocked the world. Congrats. Cam Skattebo was the best offensive player in the Big 12 and a top offensive player in the country as well. I mean, did Shedeur win more Offensive Player of the Weeks than Cam Skattebo?
No, nobody did.
Then what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You don't award the player who won Offensive Player of the Week the most times over the span of your season as the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Either you were wrong during the season or you're wrong now. And I have a feeling I know which one it is. You're wrong now.
Yeah. I mean, look, before I give my thoughts on it, Shedeur Sanders, I mean, tip of the cap.
Great season.
Congratulations on the award. Almost 4,000 passing yards, which is pretty ridiculous for a college quarterback. 35 touchdowns through the air, 8 INTs, a QBR of 78.1. That is good for 17th in the country. But Cam Skattebo on the ground, nearly 1,400 rush yards while missing a game. Had 17 rushing touchdowns, 468 receiving yards. That is the second most on the Arizona State roster. Also had 2 receiving touchdowns as well. I agree with you. I think Cam Skattebo should have been Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Again, that's not disrespect to Shedeur. I think Shedeur had a great season. But again, like you said, nobody won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week more times than Cam Skattebo this season. If we're talking about what an individual player meant to the offense, then I get it. Then I understand why Shedeur Sanders was Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. But then something needs to change in terms of just the meaning of the award. Like if you have a conference MVP, I'm cool with that. If you have a Big 12 MVP, then I think, sure, give it to Shedeur Sanders. But when it comes to what Cam Skattebo did on a weekly basis for this team, he was irreplaceable. Right. This is a guy that, again, among some of the best players in all of college football, and I know Shedeur is too, but the Big 12 is a running back conference. Taj Brooks, RJ Harvey, Cam Skattebo, Devin Neal, Ollie Gordon.
The ghost of Ollie Gordon.
The ghost of Ollie Gordon. Like, this is a conference that, yes, there were playmakers all over the field offensively, defensively, but each and every team just about had a phenomenal running back. That's what headlined this conference. And to be the running back, right? The running back on a team playing in a conference championship, the running back that won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week the most times out of anybody, the running back who is one of the nation's favorites at this point. To not get Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year
I would have been fine with co-offensive player of the year.
I would have too. I would have been fine with that too. I think that's fair too. I think that is fair too.
My argument is not anti-Shedeur. And yeah, I hate Colorado. I get it. And I think if we played Colorado, I think we beat Colorado. And there's a chance that we do play Colorado. It's not an anti-Shedeur argument. And I get it. You know, we spent the whole summer on anti-Colorado, anti-Shedeur. I get, but the facts are the facts. The good team, good quarterback, right? Like, I'm not going to just ignore that. It has nothing to do with him being bad.
No, absolutely not. Shedeur, like I said, Shedeur had a great season.
He had a season worthy of Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year.
Yes, he did.
Cam Skattebo had a season worthy of Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Scat has the most Offensive Player of the Weeks.
Yeah.
Also, I would say Scat. Would you say that ASU played a harder schedule than Colorado?
I don't know off the top of my head who Colorado played, but I can tell you what, Arizona State
was... toughest games were Nebraska, Kansas State.
I mean, Cam Skattebo was the best player on a team playing in a championship game.
Agreed. You were not going to get any argument from me. They beat North Dakota State. They lost to Nebraska. They played Colorado State, Baylor, UCF. They lost to Kansas State, which we didn't. Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. So we played a pretty similar schedule, but ASU has a BYU in there, which is a ranked team that Colorado doesn't have, right? And when Colorado beat Utah, they were not ranked at the time either. And the common opponent that we have that we beat is Kansas State, and they lost to Kansas State.
I looked And there are a lot of Colorado fans, which I will say, in terms of like Kenny, right? Kenny winning the award over Prime, have been really, really gracious about it. And like they agree. They think, you know what? Kenny had a phenomenal season. Glad he won. I would have, like you said, been totally fine with co-offensive player of the year. But I this is a popularity contest at the end of the day.
Yeah, to give something to Colorado.
It is. I believe coaches vote on these. And at like quarterbacks are always going to have an edge over any other player. Again, I don't want to take anything away from Shedeur because I think he had a great season. But Cam Skattebo definitely deserves to be in that conversation. I believe if I read everything correctly, I believe he was second.
I mean, he should be. You have to give, I guess, something to Colorado at a certain point. And maybe the fact that this is such a running back heavy conference with a lot of talented backs, right? You're talking about Taj Brooks and Devin Neal, like not making your all Big 12 first team.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe because there's so many more running backs, a top of the top quarterback stands out a little bit more.